Hello again. So we spent a bit of time this week looking at what data is and considering the sorts of measurements that we might think of as being data. We've talked about how we need information to help us make business decisions and how that information often comes in the form of answers to key questions. And we've seen that many of these questions can be answered by collecting and analysing the right sorts of data. In this session, I want to go sideways a tad, or maybe even a bit backwards, as we work to pull some of these concepts together. As we've discussed, data are simply the individual numbers, measurements, observation, words or descriptions of things that we've gathered using an agreed or even just available process. Now, to make use of data, we need to arrange it in a useful format into what we call a data set, which just means that the data is stored in a format that we can look at. For example, a spreadsheet or a local database, or in the case of big data, on a cloud-based database. Now, data in itself is not really useful. We need to analyse it to extract information, using tools that range from simple calculations all the way to massive pattern analysis software packages. And once we analyse the data, we need to use our knowledge and understanding of what we are looking at to decide what that information is really telling us. Remember, if we pick the wrong data to analyse, we may get the wrong story. So critical thinking is always required so we don't end up with alternative facts. So let's work through an example of how data can relate to information and how we can gain insight from this information. So we gather individual measurements and collate these data into data sets. For example, we measure the length and weight of fish and the colour of their flesh over a period when they are fed a new diet. So next we need to analyse this data set to give us information. We find that the fish don't grow much faster than normal, but that the fish are more even in size and the flesh colour is stronger. Next, we need to scrutinise this information to ground truth it against our experience. So we test what we find against other information and analyses and find that the information is consistent with what others have found. Then we make business decisions to change or not what we were doing. So we decide to use the new feed for some of our fish, because we want to see how they perform over a season. And then we need to collect more data to see what happens, and we adapt production methods accordingly. So we might measure fish growth against feed costs to understand the cost-benefit ratio. We might talk to processing staff and analyse processing data to see how the tighter size range is affecting processing efficiencies. We might talk to customers to find out their preferences with relation to flesh colour and portion size. And we will examine any new data and respond to what we find. And then we examine our decisions to see if they need amending. Think, ask, gather data, think, decide, and around again. So that's it for this week, where we started the process of understanding the data that we need to gather to give us information on which to base our business decisions. Next week, we'll start thinking about the ways we can look at data and how we can analyse it to help us find the answers that we seek. I'll see you then.